Welcome to the presentation on reciprocal altruism. Today we will be answering 3 questions. First, we will have a quick review of why altruism is puzzling. Then we will answer what is reciprocal altruism. And finally, we will look at some of the psychological features that might have evolved in species that engage in reciprocal altruism. So let's remember why altruism is puzzling. Altruism is defined as behavior that provides a benefit to someone else at a cost to self. This means that an altruist will decrease its own reproductive success to increase the survival and reproductive success of others. So they're decreasing their own fitness to increase the fitness of others. And when you think this through over generations, we see that altruists should slowly be eliminated from the population as they are out-reproduced, out-survived by non-altruists who just receive the benefit and don't pay any cost. So I think this comic is pretty accurate. It's a group that's asking for donations to take advantage or take down another group. So the Citizens Against Altruism want donations from altruists in order to get rid of altruists. And this is exactly what we would expect to see when altruism occurs. But we do see behaviors that look altruistic. One of the explanations that we use to explain seemingly altruistic behavior is Hamilton's rule and kin selection. So one way that people can recoup their losses is by benefiting kin and benefiting their own genes that their kin share. Now, another way to recoup your losses is to engage in reciprocal altruism. And reciprocal altruism is helping out those who return the favor. So I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine, essentially. And this is one of my favorite examples of reciprocal altruism. These are vampire bats. Now, vampire bats have to eat every day, or they won't make it through the night. But of course, not all bats get to eat every day. So what happens? Well, they come back to their tree where they're nesting, and they find their buddies or their reciprocal partners. And bats who have eaten that day will vomit some of their blood, the blood that they've acquired, into their friends' mouths. And so that way the friends can make it through the night, go hunting the next day, and hopefully be more successful. Now, researchers who spent a very lovely time in the bottom of trees getting blood and feces and other things dripped on them, noticed that the bats who gave blood to their friends were more likely to receive blood from those bats. So they were giving and receiving favors, in this case, the favor of food. So let's look at how this would work in terms of giving and taking fitness. So we'll start with person A, and we're going to record their fitness, and then we'll also have person B, and we will record their fitness. So both of them, we're going to start out with a fitness of 0. We'll just say that they're equal to everybody else in the environment, no better, no worse, average fitness. So in reciprocal altruism, person A will pay a favor to person B. So let's see what that does to their fitness. Well, A has paid a cost to help B. So A is down 1 fitness point, but B is up 5 fitness points. Now if we stop here, here's the conundrum of altruism. A is doing not only worse than everyone else in the environment, but much worse than B. But what's going to happen is B is going to return the favor to A. A will get the benefit. B has paid the cost. And if you look across trading these 2 favors, A is up by 4 points, as is B, and they're both doing better than they would have without the altruistic behavior. Now there's 3 points that we have to consider for this. First of all, you've probably noticed that the cost has to be less than the benefit. So this might be giving a loaf of bread to a starving neighbor. Perhaps you have lots of food, it's a small cost to you, but it might make a big difference to them. So this only applies to behaviors where the cost that the donor pays is less than the benefit that the recipient gets, so that when the donor is repaid the favor, they end up ahead. And of course, reciprocity must occur. We can't stop at step 2, otherwise someone is left hanging. And finally, these individuals need be close relatives. So this is one way that we can observe cooperative behavior in non-relatives. Now, reciprocal altruism is not so easy. In fact, it's pretty hard, and we see it fairly rarely in the animal kingdom. And some of the reasons why it's so difficult is, first of all, it's easy to make mistakes. Perhaps you intended to return the favor, but you didn't. Or perhaps you thought it would be worth more to your friend or your trading partner than it was. You also have to be able to keep track of favors. Who's done things for you? Who have you done things for? Because you may have more than one reciprocal altruist partner. So you have to have a decent memory in order to be able to keep track of who you've traded favors with. And finally, you have to have repeated interactions. So reciprocal altruism doesn't work in species where individuals only rarely encounter other members of their own species. They have to be able to reciprocate by having repeated interactions. And this is reflected in the Charlie Brown comic you see above. So what type of psychology might be required to make reciprocal altruism easier or even possible? Well, individuals have to be able to have long-term relationships with individuals that they've exchanged favors with. This is a picture of myself and my best friend doing some cross-country skiing up at Bogus Basin this winter. So you have to be able to remember previous interactions, as I've stated on the previous slide, and be assured that you're going to be able to continue trading favors. In order to maintain these long-term relationships, we observe humans all over the world having emotions and concepts of friendship. So concepts of long-term relationships with non-kin where beneficial behaviors are exchanged. And we observe cross-culturally emotions or concepts of trust and loyalty, debt and obligation, and finally betrayal and guilt. Because one useful psychological mechanism is being able to detect cheaters, being able to detect when you are paying a cost to help someone receive a benefit if they are taking advantage of you and not paying you back. This is a common pitfall of cooperation, you being cooperative and the other person defecting on you, and we will discuss this in the next presentation on the prisoner's dilemma. And there is some evidence that humans have psychological mechanisms for cheater detection. Finally, sometimes individuals make mistakes and don't mean to cheat their partner, their friend, their reciprocant, and there's a desire to repair the relationship or make up for the loss that that person has incurred. And in these cases, we're very good at providing cues and detection of cues for honesty. Honesty that there's some general regret and feeling of guilt for making a mistake. And these cues are generally very hard to fake. So it has been suggested that the best cheaters are those who can deceive themselves if they feel like they have genuinely, honestly been contributing to the relationship. They can provide these genuine cues for honesty and continue taking advantage of their partner. So that's it for this presentation. I hope you enjoyed learning about reciprocal altruism, and I'll see you next time in The Prisoner's Dilemma. Thanks for listening.